Welcome to the Crockers Unleashed podcast. Here, anything goes. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the podcast. It's gonna be a good one. This is something I literally get asked all the time. I've been asking you guys, hey, give me some topics to talk about, and you guys have been asking me this, and you've been asking me this for like a year, 2 years, ever since I've been on YouTube, and it is, what camera should I use? What camera do you use, Jason? What camera is good for me? Well, I'm going to list, I think there's like 6 or 7 different cameras, and I'm going to start from the beginning, and then I'm going to move up, and I'm going to try to add links in the description so you can check it out. So, yeah, the first thing I would start with is a cell phone. If you really don't have much of a budget, cell phone is perfect. Everybody has a cell phone. They always have it on them. You can just pull it out if something cool happens. It's just there. It's ready to go. It's super convenient and easy. There are accessories everywhere. I mean, everywhere for this. And so, yeah, the cell phones are getting extremely good these days. So don't be scared to use your cell phone. I know channels that literally have millions of subscribers and they still use cell phones. I know a lot of channels that started with cell phones. We did a ton of videos with cell phones, and for the longest time I did Coffee with the Crockers with a cell phone until my cell phone messed up. The audio wasn't working good, and so yeah, it's just one of those things. So don't be scared to use a cell phone. A lot of the new good ones, you can really dial in the settings. It's not just point and shoot like most people think. You can literally go in and change the aperture and, you know, ISO and frame rates and all that stuff. You can do slow-mo, you can do time lapse, you can do all sorts of stuff with the cell phone, and it's a really good thing to use. I highly recommend it, and yeah. And then the next thing I would recommend that would be user-friendly, probably pretty close to a cell phone, is a GoPro. So pretty much this will be the first one I talk about as far as price, links, and kind of all that. Cell phones, they range drastically. Pretty much everyone already has cell phones, so yeah, I'll just leave it at that. But so a GoPro, they have the 9s out. That's the latest one, and if you get the black edition, it's about $400. That sucker can film in 5K. That's more than anyone needs right now. No one even has 5K TVs. Everyone has either 720, 1080, or 4K. Most people have 1080, 720 or 1080, and then 4K is becoming more and more popular, but not everyone out there is doing 4K. Now, these podcasts that I do are in 4K because I'm just trying something new. Every other thing that I ever do is 1080, so don't think you need 4K, 5K, all this crazy stuff. It helps in different ways other than just putting 4K videos out, but that'll be a whole nother topic. But you can get a GoPro Black 9 for $400, and you can get a GoPro 8 Black with a bundle. I think it comes with a handle, memory card, battery, and something else. I don't remember exactly what it is, and that's $300. So really and truly, you know, yes, $300 is a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, when it comes to cameras, it's really not that much. It's a very small investment as far as technology goes. You could buy knockoff GoPros, and they're not as good as GoPro. I think the image quality is pretty good, but the stabilization in it isn't good. I know people that have them, but the GoPros, the new ones, the 8s and 9s, the stabilizer built into it is insane. I mean, absolutely insane. You can hold it out and just walk around, and it looks like you have like a gimbal, like a stabilizer. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And I know the GoPro 8, and I'm pretty sure the GoPro 9 probably does even more, but GoPro 8 can shoot up to 120 frames, and possibly even 240, I don't remember. So, I mean, that's slow motion, and like really slow. If you watch my channel and you watch my cinematic stuff, I shoot in 120 frames a second, and then I slow it down where it's like super like butter smooth, like it looks legit. That'll be a whole nother topic as well, teaching all that. But yeah, you can get a GoPro, and the best thing about that is it's super wide angle. But the new GoPros, you can do super wide, you can do linear where it's kind of more normal, you can do zoomed in, and then you could do like super view, which is like it's a square but it's huge. Then you got to like kind of crop in if you want it to look a little better on the TV and whatnot, or it works perfect for Instagram because it's a square. But yeah, those are your best bet. And so you can literally hold it out with your hand. It's so small you can take it anywhere. It's not the weird feeling of like, oh man, people are watching me with this big camera. You can kind of hide a GoPro, and that's the beauty of it. And you can put GoPros in little spots here and there, like cool, really, really cool shots. I use one every single day for Coffee the Crockers. That's how I film. And the reason I do that is I film it, and then with Wi-Fi, it sends it to my cell phone. So that's like a super legit cool thing. I don't have to do any plugging in. I film and I hook up the Wi-Fi connection to it. It sends it to my phone, and then from there I upload it to YouTube. So very simple, very easy. You don't have to have a laptop or anything. You can legit have a GoPro, film, send it over to your phone, edit on your phone, and they even have GoPro apps you can edit on, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, that's a really, really budget-friendly, easy to use, wide angle, everything's in it, GoPro. The new ones even have a screen on the front so you can see what you're doing. So yeah, the links will be down in the description. I've got my phone over here with some notes. And then the next one would be more of a point and shoot camera. Like the old school cameras, and not like old film ones, but like early 2000s, maybe even a little younger than that, where they were about this big, and you turn it on, the lens kind of pops out. It's a point and shoot. There's no change, like you can't change lenses, nothing, but it normally has a screen on the back. You can probably flip it around, film. That's going to be your next step up. That one that I found is a Sony Cybershoot HX80. I don't know too much about it. I kind of just looked up one. I used to have one similar to that back in the day, and that one back in the day was pretty good. But that's probably going to shoot, 1080, maybe like 60 frames a second, which you can still slow-mo to 50%, and it's still pretty good. You're probably kind of a step up from a cell phone, maybe, depending on your cell phone. If you have a really bad cell phone, I would say go with point and shoot. But if you have a really good cell phone, I don't know if I said that right. If you have a really bad cell phone, stick with the cell phone. But if you have a really, I'm messing this up. If you have a really good cell phone, stick with the cell phone. If you have a really bad cell phone, I would go for point and shoot. And you can get that one for about $370. That's going to be a little different than the GoPro. It'll give you a bigger screen. It's a little easier to manage if you're not really good with technology. A lot of them are probably touchscreen nowadays. So that would be something that would be very simple for you to use. I personally would say, really and truly, I would almost bypass a point and shoot unless you already have one or you just really want that. But a cell phone probably give you the same amount if you have a good cell phone. And the GoPro is probably a little bit better. You can get 4K, you can shoot 5K with the new GoPros, you can shoot high frame rates, you can do stuff. On the GoPro and the point and shoot, you can add microphones, but you probably have to have the accessory that goes with it. But yeah, that point and shoot's about $370. And then this is where you're starting to get up into like, all right, I'm really taking YouTube serious. I'm going to put some money into a camera. I would say the Canon M50 is the staple of, all right, I don't want to use a phone, I don't want to use a GoPro, but I don't want to spend, a couple $1,000s on a vlogging camera. So this will come with a lens, and it's a 15mm to 45mm. And if you have no idea what that means it's wide enough that you can hold it out about right here and get you in it. If you watch Jared's video, Jared has a Canon M50. Daniel Arms from Arms Family Homestead, last I knew, had a Canon M50. And so, there's some big channels out there that use them, and you can keep it on auto settings, and I'm not a big fan of auto settings because if you do stuff like I do, you can really tweak it, get really good colors, good quality, stuff like that. But on the Canon M50, it does have a lot of auto settings, and it's pretty good. You can get some really good shots. You just have to kind of do your research, and with just like any camera, and really dial in the stuff. If you want to like get it really, really good, you can do manual modes and stuff. But the Canon M50, it does 4K, I think, in 30 frames a second. And then in 1080, it does 60 frames a second. And then if you want to do like slow-mo and all that, you would have to bump down to 720, which I don't really recommend. That's when it starts looking a little iffy. I would kind of steer clear of that. But the Canon M50 is a very good camera for starting vlogging and stuff. I highly recommend it. I think it's great. I know a lot of people that use it. It's got a better battery life than cameras that I use. And then I think you can even buy a wide angle lens. I think Sunny Slope Homestead has one, and I think he said to buy the camera, the lens, and a wide angle lens adapter, I think is what he said. Actually, yeah, Matt has one. It's about $1,000, but you can buy just the camera alone with the 15 by 45 lens for $650. So that's definitely not bottom line, but it's not top of the line either. That's going to get you in that good, really good vlog camera without breaking the bank. Yes, it's still a lot of money, and but in the grand scheme of things, the cameras, it's still on the lower end, and I highly recommend it. And then this is where I get excited. Sony cameras. So, and then I would say the step up from there would be anywhere from like a Sony A6000 to a Sony A6500. Jaylena from Lever Wild has an A6500. The Sawyers have a A6400, and I know Wild Wonderful Off Grid uses the 6400, and so you could buy different lenses with that. Sony is really, really good in low light. They will kill any other camera in low light. It's just the way it is. That's why I switched over to Sony. And then Sony does mirrorless cameras. So if you buy like the Canon M50, it's going to be a little bit bigger, a little bit fatter. Some people like that because it's easier to hold. But when it goes to Sony, they jump to a mirrorless. So you take out like half that body, and it's real skinny, real like sleek, light. It makes it a lot lighter, easier to carry around all day. If you're vlogging and you hold it out, it's going to be a lot easier to do. The screens on them are absolutely amazing. I think the newer ones are touchscreen, maybe, if I remember correctly. And then you can get a Sony A6400 with an 18mm to 135mm for $1,300. And so that means it's 18mm, and you can still vlog. You can hold it out like this and still vlog with it. It'll get you in it. Not super wide, but it'll get you in it. But then you got 135mm that you can really zoom in on, and you can be a lot further away what you're doing and get shots from a distance. That's the big benefit of going towards, Canon M50, these Sony cameras and stuff. Other than like a GoPro, you can't zoom in, but the Sony, you could do that. But the thing with the Sony and the Canon, you can start changing lenses. You can pop the whole lens off, put a whole new lens on, and it just makes it a lot easier. I will go into detail later in more videos about all of that, different lenses, what the different millimeters are, like why is one a 10mm, why is one 135, stuff like that. But to really break it down really, really fast is the smaller the number, the wider your camera's gonna shoot. So GoPros are always like real wide, so that's gonna be a real low number. The lens I'm using right now is a 20mm, so I'm sitting maybe 2 feet from the camera, but it looks like I'm a little bit further. You can see the whole room, but this is a very, very small room. Now with the Canon M50, it's a 15mm, but it's a different type of camera, so it's about like this, roughly like this, maybe a little bit more cropped in, but again, I'll go way into detail on that. But once you get into the Sony, I think that's when you're really stepping it up. I absolutely love Sony cameras. The only downfall is the battery life is complete garbage. If you've ever used cameras and you've seen other stuff, to me, it doesn't bother me. I could get about 45 minutes to an hour out of a battery, depending on what I'm doing. Every time I got in the habit of, if I'm not using the camera, I turn it off. And as soon as I'm about to use it, I turn it back on, do my shots, I turn it off. And if you do that, it's not that big of a deal. But the good thing is you can go, get on Amazon or even Best Buy, buy the knockoff batteries, and you can get those for super cheap. I think you could buy like 4 batteries for like 30-40 bucks or something. So you just stock up on batteries and you're good. You can buy the big battery extenders that you put on the bottom, and it would be very, very good. It lasts a long time. So that's a really cool camera. That's more of stepping it up. Now, if you really want to step it up, this will be the 6th camera that I'm talking about. And this is more along the lines of like what I use. The reason I say professional videographer and you can do movies and stuff, I forgot the movie, but they did an entire movie on these cameras. And it's Sony, and it's the Sony A7sii. They just came out with Sony A7sii, but they are sold out. The second they came out, they were sold out. If you can get your hands on one, I will buy it off of you for more money than it's worth. But it's a really, really good camera, and that's when you like really step it up. But the A7sii, so Sony A7sii, this is the low light king, which means when it's dark, you don't need much light. You can crank it up like crazy. So ISOs on the Canon camera and stuff goes probably like 3200, and then on the Sony A7S and 6400 stuff, those go to like 100,000. So from 3200 to 100,000, that's the difference. That's like, you can be outside pitch black, you can crank it all the way up and you're gonna see. Now, will it be crystal clear? No, there'll be some grain, you'll see, stuff like that, but it can pick up that much light when you can't even see outside. You went outside and it's pitch black, you can crank it all the way up and you can see. It's absolutely insane. Like, it's crazy. That's why I just stick to this camera like crazy. I absolutely love it. But the downside of this camera is it's a $2,000 camera, and that doesn't even include the lens. That just includes the body. So the lens is, you can start buying different lenses and stuff, but they can get pretty pricey. So you're gonna have to spend at least $2,000 for a brand new one. When I first got mine years ago, it was $3,500. That's why I say it's more on the professional side. I don't recommend you getting into YouTube and jumping in and buying that. I definitely think that's something you have to learn what you're doing and then get it. And but I'll say this: you can find used A7S2s, the bodies, for about $1,000 to $1,200 on Facebook Market and Craigslist, which makes it cheaper than the series that I was talking about before that, like the A6000 series, 6000 to 6500. You can actually get an A7S2 that's better for cheaper, but you got to find the right person. Now the difference, and this is going to start confusing you guys, but the difference between the Sony A6000 series that I talked about earlier and the A7S2 that I have is the sensor size. So the other cameras have a crop sensor, which, just think if the sensor was half an inch, half an inch, half an inch, half an inch, half an inch. Well, the full frame, which is what I have, the A7S2, is full frame. So imagine 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch. So you're getting instead of a sensor this big, you're getting one this big. So it's literally 4 times more quality than it could pick up more. That's all right. I kind of messed up on that. It's not 4 times more quality. It's just bigger. You can do more stuff. It picks up more light and all that stuff. What I was gonna say was 1080 to 4K, because it shoots 4K, is 1080 is, say, this big. It's 1920 pixels by 1080 pixels down, like your TV screen. Well, 4K is 4 times that size. So imagine 4 of those, and that's what 4K is. And if you're shooting on a full frame camera, it's just full blown awesome. It's amazing. It's even better in low light. It's better at just it just looks better. You get that depth of field where it's blurry in the background, looks all cinematic. You get that stuff. You could just do a lot, but that's pretty much those cameras. But the absolute best camera you could ever have, that you can ever have in your hand, is the one that you have in your hand. It's the one that you have. It doesn't matter if it's a cell phone, a GoPro, point and shoot, Canon M50, Sony A6000 series, Sony A7S2, or a $1 million camera. You're no good without a camera in your hand. So if you have a camera in your hand, you can go out, you could do stuff, you could, start creating content. So that the best camera you can possibly have is the one that you have. So don't think you have to have a $2,000 camera, or you have to have the best new cell phone or the newest GoPro or anything, because that is not the truth. As long as you have something to film with, get out there and make videos, and that is the best thing you could do, rather than just wait around and be like, well, I don't have a $2,000 camera, so I'm not going to do anything. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But all of those cameras can use microphones that I know of. So the microphone that I recommend, it's super cheap. It's $60. That's really cheap when it comes to microphones, and it's the Rode mic. And I don't remember the exact thing. I think it's just Rode mic. There's a link down in the description. This is all Best Buy links except the A7S II. And so all the links are down in the description. You can check it out. The mic will plug into all the Sony cameras, into the Canon cameras. The GoPro and the phone, you might have to have adapters. And the point and shoot, I don't know. It depends if it has a microphone input. But yeah, that's the microphone I recommend. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I know this is probably really confusing, but I will leave the links down in the description. You can go look for yourself, and then search all of those cameras, whichever one you're interested in your budget. Search them on YouTube, and there is video after video after video, and that's what I always do. I look at product reviews before I go buy a new camera, or if I want a new camera, or if I want a new lens, then I just search all the things I want on YouTube, and there is a million channels that literally do nothing but those type of videos. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully you guys got something out of this, and if anything you got out of this is, if you have a camera in your hand, that's the best camera you can use. So guys, we'll catch you on the next one. Let me know down below what you'd like to talk about next, and I'll try to get to it. So we'll see you on the next one.